What's up, Gravel family? We're so glad you're here.
The Gravel Family Podcast is a place where we celebrate the people, the stories, and the adventures that make gravel cycling and running more than just a sport. It's a community.
From first-time riders to seasoned pros, we're here to share the passion, the grit, and the fun that brings us all together on the gravel.
So clip in or tie those laces, and let's dive into the stories that make our gravel family so special. This episode is sponsored by Good Life Nutrition.
Looking for a nutrition brand that powers your performance? Good Life Nutrition has you covered with their complete lineup. Carbs made with cluster dextrin that actually taste good, protein, electrolytes, essential amino acids, and an endurance recovery mix. Their product line ensures you're taken care of from beginning to end.
As the official nutrition supporter of Gravel Worlds, Good Life Nutrition's innovative lineup is trusted by athletes to fuel their best. Whether you're training or racing, this is the nutrition you need.
And here's something special for our Gravel Family podcast listeners. Use the code GravelFamily at checkout for 20% off your first order. This exclusive offer is just for you.
Visit fuelyourgoodlife.com and fuel your good life with Good Life Nutrition today. All right. What's up, Gravel Family? I'm Jason.
And I'm Sophia.
And I'm Bobby.
And this is our first video podcast, and we are just jumping right into this. So we have not even talked to each other this morning, and that's kind of how we're going to do this podcast, because this is an emotional podcast. There's a lot going on, a lot of feels, and First of all, we're really thankful, Bobby, that you trusted us to have this conversation, because I know there's a lot of people that want to have this conversation with you, and it means a lot to us that you would, one, take time when you're still exhausted, but two, to trust us with this conversation. So,
oh man, yeah, truthfully, no one else has reached out. And
wow.
About doing a podcast. I mean, obviously, many people have reached out in so many ways, but yeah, no, like it was an absolute yes. Like, what other people would understand the weight of what's going on than other friends, family, and event promoters of a large event that's grassroots. And yeah, man, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I get the opportunity to have this conversation with the two of you. So I appreciate it a lot, because I think yesterday I finally hit a bit of clarity, and so now this is, I think, the perfect time. It's the perfect timing, and the sun's shining, and it's cold and crisp outside, and there's still fires burning within 15-20 minutes of town. The wind yesterday was absolutely insane. So, I mean, it's just like everyone here is exhausted. Everyone here is doing everything that they can. And everyone's support is felt so deeply. I mean, everyone's love for Stillwater and for our community and for those that have lost their homes is just, it's beyond comprehension right now. And so I think shock is truly the best description of what I'm feeling and what our team is feeling and what my kids are feeling, what my family is feeling. Everyone's just responding with love and with grace and with respect and with patience. I mean, it's like 99.8% overwhelmingly positive.
That's
Well,
good.
I think we need to just rewind and go back to the very beginning. And I think I want to talk about everything that happened during that week, because it started on such a high. Things were going incredible. We just talked to Chase Work yesterday, and he was talking about how he got into town on Sunday, and you were coming over to his house, and you guys were sharing stories about bikes and life and doing all this epic stuff. And
you're having a kid in 2.5 weeks, and I was like, and Chase yeah, no, please. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you a million times.
That's all right.
Don't let me do it.
I love it.
Don't let me do it, Sophia.
But I want to hear from you how that week started.
We were so ready. I wasn't ready physically, but I was ready in every other way that I could be. I've been riding my bike. Obviously, if you watch the YouTube pre-ride, go to our YouTube channel and watch it. You can watch me be an absolute.
Can I say marshmallow? Like just the kindest marshmallow, dude. Because it's me too. Me too,
dude. This year we're sponsored by Michelin. Thank you, Michelin.
I love it.
Good
not-
start. Good start.
This is not going to be a 69-minute podcast.
Yeah, actually, welcome to episode 420. This is season 4, episode 20. And there was only one guest we could have on.
It's a no-brainer.
Sponsored by Roach Clips.
Hey, is this a good time? First announcement: we have a THC seltzer sponsor, Climbing Kites, for Gravel Worlds this year. So, happy episode 420.
Whoopsie. Hey, man, you feeling anxious? No, you're not. Welcome to Station 1.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's going to be good. Okay. I got something to tell everybody about. Joshua Heath Scott of JHS Guitar Pedals in Kansas City has become my friend. He's become a mentor. He's just become someone that I deeply admire. He's running one of the biggest guitar pedal companies on the planet, and he is at the head of, I don't know how many employees, dude, like a lot. They're running a massively global audience, YouTube channel, social media.
Their TikTok is amazing.
TikTok's amazing. I don't even have TikTok, and I know it's amazing.
I'm not even a guitarist. I have a ukulele that I pretend to play, and I love their TikTok. Yeah.
And that's their whole thing is like, you don't have to be a musician or a guitar player or any of that, studio touring, nothing. Like they're entertaining us. It's entertainment, and it's informational, educational. Josh put out a list of books. Go find Josh's personal account, just Joshua Heath Scott on YouTube, and this book was number 1. He was like, get this. And the Casual Scene Bookshop shares our Mid-South HQ space. I'm pointing over here because they're over there. And I texted Aaron immediately, and I was like, can you get this for me? And Aaron and Kira Frisbee that have the shop were like, yep, it'll be here tomorrow. And I was sick. You guys, I haven't read a book in 20 years. I'm so embarrassed to say that. I am carrying this thing around like it is my NIV Bible in college. Like, it's like got my name like embossed on it. And I'm like, well, what does it have to say today? Like, what am I looking at today? And like, what's the proverb of today? Read this book.
For those that aren't watching video, on the video version, what's the book?
Yeah, sorry. Watch the video. What are you guys doing? What is this, 1997? This book is called Essentialism: The Disciplined Pursuit of Less by Greg McCowan. I told Josh I was reading it, and we've been like lightly book clubbing over text, and he's like, I'm so excited for you. This is going to change everything. It's going to change you forever. And it's every single sentence, every single paragraph, every word is like ripping me apart. The answer is yes. What's the question, right? Like, that's how I've lived my whole entire existence. And I've said yes to every opportunity, every request, everything that happens, like every business idea. It's always been yes. So my family has taken the brunt of that, my community, my bike shop, my heart, my soul. And what the book talks about, again, it's Essentialism by Greg McCowan. You can find it everywhere. I'm sure you can find it on audiobook. And what it tells you is that when you say yes to every opportunity, you are allowing every single person that is asking something of you to choose your life for you. If you say no, you have an opportunity to step back, evaluate the best route of action, the best things that you want to say yes to. And then if it's an absolute yes, then it's an absolute yes. But if it isn't an absolute yes, it's an absolute no. And then you will be able to say yes to the things that you will make the biggest and most incredible impact toward your own family, your own goals, your own life, blah, all of those things, your friends, your community. So this has been allowing me to, it's life-changing. It's changing my entire ethos. And as soon as Chase and Dylan Johnson, Adam Roberts, and Simon, and there's another dude, there's another international guy staying at that house on Country Club.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, it wasn't Tobe that won last year from Colorado, but it was another guy. And they texted me and they're like, "Yo, we got broken bikes. Simon's bike, who's a hitter, and Simon was absolutely a favorite. Like he's favorited to win.
He won Gravel Worlds last year.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't look at results, so my bad.
It's
Yeah,
all good.
I knew that. We talked about it, and they're like, dude, they're like, we think his fork is broken, and then Chase wasn't even telling me what's going on with his bike until I got there, and then and Dylan's like, I forgot like a shim, a wedge that needs to go into these integrated bikes. Absolutely suck. Industry, if you're paying attention, we don't need to hide our brake cables inside of our handlebars and stem and frame. It is a humongous pain in the ass, and you need to pay all of the mechanics with love and cash because you're ruining their lives. Everyone should be riding a Surly cross-check. This is so stupid. So, anyway, I told him, I was like, yo, I'm heading downtown. It's Sunday. The week is on. Everyone is texting each other. Our whole team, everyone's like, happy Mid-South week, Merry Christmas, it's on, here we go. And I'm like doing dinner at home, and then I'm like, I'm going to run to the studio for a minute, I got some stuff I need to do, and then I just drove directly out to their house. The sun was going down, it's absolutely gorgeous. We just wrapped up the day before our final internal crew. We have three rings to the basically like the force, it's the nucleus, and then these two rings of people that make Mid-South happen. It's Crystal, Josh, and I on we call it the Mid-South Janitors, and then we have the inner circle of darkness that is Brett Stevens, Mila Stevens, and Trevor Stewart, and Josh and Crystal and I, and then we have the Platinum Elite membership status that is a whole bunch of other people that I won't name, and they have been a part of this, you guys, since year one, 13 years. Same people. They know the mission. They know the core values. And we had that last meeting where we print off. Do you guys do this where you do an internal timeline where everyone has an internal schedule that isn't the big one that isn't the public one? It's like, no, like, you know, Crystal
Dallas needs to be here for stage.
Yeah.
Bobby needs to be here for this interview. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
We gotta pick up the Skytrack's being delivered at Thursday at 8 a.m. and Bobby's gonna get a phone call when he's in his underwear and he's gonna have to scramble and grab his bike and marshmallow his way all the way down downtown, and then he's like on Thursday on his Gary Fisher bike, like my mountain bike, I'm like running around moving barricades, and I haven't had a shower, I haven't brushed my teeth, I haven't gone to the bathroom, I haven't done deodorant. Thursday was sick. We'll get there. Sunday night, I get over to the house, and Roberge opens the door, and I hear him say before he opens the door, he's like, I'm about to bring the party. And I didn't bring any beer or anything. I walk in, and it's typical racer vibe. There's food everywhere, bananas everywhere, oatmeal everywhere, vegetables everywhere, helmets, yoga mats, and it's just all these incredibly sexy dudes sitting at a table. And they're just like, what's up, Bobby? Thanks for coming out. And then we sit down and we just like, And because of the book and because of how I've been preparing for this year specifically, because we had 4,200 people from every single state except Hawaii and D.C. We had D.C. and we had 10 countries. I've just been like, when everyone gets to town, and Jason, I know you know, and Sophia, you too, when you see Ali Tetrick, like, what happens to you?
I start acting like a little tiny girl, and I'm screaming and jumping around. Like, that's just like, you see people and you're like, I haven't seen you for 9 months.
Right.
And you're part of me. Like, they are part of your family, your inner circle, and you're like, yeah, no, you lose your mind.
It's also like, as an event promoter, and I texted you this after the event when I know you were super raw, and it's like, no one understands the mindset of an event promoter that genuinely cares about their event. There is no one that has thought about Mid-South more than you have. I calculated it up, and it's almost 5,000 days that you've been thinking about the Mid-South in a row. There's not a day that's gone by.
Yeah, I had the idea for the race before we even moved out of Emporia in 2009.
Yeah. So that's and so then when you start seeing people, we think about this all year. And then once you start seeing people, you're like, oh, this is like, it almost kind of feels like a fake. You're like in this weird realm all year. This thing's never going to happen. And then all of a sudden it's like, bam, it's there. And then bam, it's gone. And so it's like when you see those first people, it's like, oh, we're on. Like, it's game time.
It's like summer camp.
It's real.
It's like summer camp.
Yeah.
And
with a lot of work.
Yeah. And everyone wants you. Everyone wants a piece of you. Everyone wants a piece of you.
Yeah.
So, Sophia, and like, in those moments, all you want to do is say yes. And all you want to do is give and give and give and give and give over and over. And like every little detail is like one of the questions I got asked on Friday before the half marathon champion, who is Eric London, who's won the 50K multiple times, who's a local legend from Stillwater. He texted me on 2 days before. He's like, hey, man, I've got Boston coming up, and, like, I ain't feeling 50K, so can you move me to half? And I'm like, Eric's about to just crush all these people's souls. And he did. He's like, oh, damn, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, doesn't matter. Everybody wants a piece of you. Everybody, like, wants their – the question was, Bobby, do you want the champagne? Which, shout out to Zanotti's Wine Bar, the big patio. That should have been the most rowdy finish line party all Friday and all Saturday right next to us. They gave us 5 cases of champagne for free. So they are their finish line celebration hydration sponsor. Thank you, Zanotti.
Love that.
They're like, Bobby, do you want the champagne on ice? And I was like, what do you mean do I want it on ice? Like, do you want your cheeseburger to be hot? Like, get out of my... Yes. Also, dude, shout out Bobby's Burgers.
Oh my word!
We're gonna be doing it. I'm good little eater texted me yesterday. I accidentally stole one of her little things. Sorry, Sarah. I'll return that today. Good little eater. We're gonna do another Bobby's Burgers pop up for fundraiser for the fire relief very soon.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. It takes us 3 days to prep. It's insane. We were fully prepared. So I'm stepping into this room with these guys that I've never hung out with. I've never hung out with Dylan. I've never hung out with Chase. I've seen them race. I've talked to them. I've seen Chase and Adam out on course at Unbound from a media perspective. Like, so I just don't really know what I'm getting into. But the second I see them, I'm like, dude, they're here a week early. And it's this I keep telling everybody that my manicness, like the switched on, the clarity I like to call it, and like, you know, just the unhinged, like this, ice for champagne. Porta potties are in the wrong spot. We got to get the CO2 for the cannons that we built and just spent $3,500 on so we can have smoke coming out of the finish line. Like, they're over here and this is over here and check-in's going to happen and all of these things. Is the course marking going to be right? Do I have the Jeep Club number correct? Like, my notes app is insane. And I'm like, I'm stealing myself away because we've had the last meeting and I feel comfortable taking care of these guys because they came here from Texas, from that snow race, and I shouldn't be here. This is the last thing that I should be doing.
Well, even Chase said something like that. Chase had said, he was like, Bobby should be sleeping right now. And here he is. He's like hanging out with us, you know, and he loved it. But it is something where it's like you could be in 20,000 places on race week, and you need to be at each of those places.
Yeah, and I was late to the denim salsa Ripton ride because I was taking a shower because I was freaking out.
Yeah, maybe we should jump. So leading up to the week, you're focused, but you're feeling good. You're feeling prepared.
Yeah.
Thursday is kind of when really people start getting into town. Expo's getting set up. You know, that's when we got into town to see you. You know, Ripton ride. They did joke. Trevor joked at the beginning. He's like, "Well, we can't find Bobby, so we're just gonna start."
couldn't
did
find
make
my
it,
helmet.
right? You made it.
Yeah, I was there. And can we have a conversation about gravel time? And can we have this? We purposely.
We might disagree. I am
Absolutely not,
on
my
point.
friend. Like we need to have hugs, and we should have all had a Topo Chico before, and like tie each other's shoes. Like I couldn't find my shoes. That's what it was. Crystal refused to let me wear my Shimano shoes that I wore on the pre-ride because they were muddy, and so I had my boots on, and then I was like, I'll get cleats on my other shoes that I just got from my buddy Les, and then I run in the shop, and Trevor's like, go, and I heard Micah talking. I'm like, who's in charge? Like, what are we? Give me like 6 seconds, and So I go out in my boots, and I almost fell in the creek at the park. Anyway, there's one thing I want to say about Sunday, and I know Jason's like, we're gonna get these reins, we're gonna get these bobbies out of control. It's fine.
These make the best podcasts, if we're being honest. Is like it's the ones that like just go off the reins, because that's where my mind goes. Jason's always the dad, and he's like, we're gonna make this go on schedule.
Right.
And I'm like,
we got to start on time. We got to be. People want.
You're talking.
They want.
We're like 20 minutes in and about 40 tangents, and I did with Sophie and I behind the scenes here. We have a little message thing, and I did say we might need to wind in the tangents, or this is going to be a long one. I've already messaged that.
We'll get in there. Yeah, my chat is empty, by the way. So anyway, I got in there. I just didn't know what to expect, and I immediately regretted that I didn't bring everybody a snack or something. Like, and we were sitting there, and we started talking about the race they just came from, and like logistics, and like how they didn't know they were finishing early, and then I started telling them about Unbound, the inaugural DKXL in 2018 when Crystal and I did it, and Chase was like, Bobby, you've done some rides. And he was like, I only know you as Bobby, Mid-South Bobby, or Bike Shop Bobby. And I was like, no, man, like I did the Divide in 2016 in 24 days and 1 hour. And like I dreamed of that from 2008 when I saw the Ride the Divide DVD with Leland and Crystal in our house in Emporia. And I was like, I'm doing that. And then Joe Miser from Salsa was like, don't wait any longer. And I did it. I did it when I was 30 years old. And so I'm just telling him all this. And he's telling me all about that quick trip ride that he did. Actually, he told me about that later. But Chase is ridiculous. Do you know about the quick trip ride? Did he talk about it?
Yeah. How he tried to get sponsored by Quick Trip. Yeah.
Dude, sponsor this man, Quick Trip. Like, what are you talking about? Like, get him roller dogs for life. He had a skin suit made. So we just like, I felt what I want to get the point of this is that I felt the mania. It's a physical manifestation in my stomach. Jason, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's just like it's on. Like like we said earlier. It's like it's go time, and you don't have a choice. Like you can't be tired. You can't be sore. You can't complain about it. You are the lead. Like Sophie and I are the leader of that ship that week, and like. To give credit to Corey and Craig, who came before Sophia and I, like they were that leader for Gravel Worlds for 15 years too. So,
dude. And all eyes are on you. And so now I'm entering into Sunday. I know for a fact that there are like 5 pros here already. So everyone started coming in on Wednesday or Thursday, but like, dude, a guy took 5 flights from Australia. Dude, I had plans with a guy that got on. I never get on Facebook, but somehow I got on Facebook on our Stillwater Gravel Grinders Facebook page forum. It's just a place to post rides. And he was like, I'm coming in for the very first time from Ireland. Is there any place in town to get a Guinness? And I was like, Finnegan's Fight and Go. I will see you there. We are having a Guinness. We're going to split the G. I wish I had a Guinness right now. And I didn't get to see him. We never met. Oh man.
There's a lot of pressure those weeks, and it's not as much pressure from the outer sources, like people coming to town, because the majority of people coming in from town, they understand. They're like, okay, this person can't be everywhere at once, but it's that internal pressure because, like, you think about this week all year long, and you're like, I can't wait for this, and you build it up in your mind, and you're like, it's coming. Okay, how do I make the most out of it?
Yes, and that's where the essentialism comes in play. And so I knew I was there, and I knew that everything was on. Like I was like, all right, everything's in motion. And then we ended up in the garage, and I grabbed Simon's handlebars and held his tire, and they were like, move his handlebars. And I moved them, and they cracked all the way. So he somehow finished that race in Texas, not using that name, not because I'm not trying to give them a shout out, because I just don't quite understand why that name is what it is. And I think that those people should think about it. And anyway, they turned it, and if you want to edit that out, I don't give a fuck, whatever. Anyway, and it just cracked, and I was like, what the fuck? And then Chase was like, my shifting's off, and I was like, cool, I'm just going to take these bikes. And then Dylan was like, I got a guy bringing my sleeve. And dude, I want Jason, you specifically, to hear this. They were like, so has UCI like approached you? And I was like, dude, yeah. And I told him the entire story. We should have this podcast later, because I have not told the story publicly. But USAC, and at the time it was Rob, that was the former CEO of New Balance, retired, bought a bike shop in Park City, Utah, and became the president of USAC, and was like trying to save this sinking ship. And then they invited all Ted King, BWR, me, Unbound, Christy Leland, Grinduro. They invited all of us to Bentonville for 3 days. Everyone had their travel paid for, except for me. And I just slept in my van. So whatever. Actually, I have a homie that I stayed at Taylor's house. So shout out Taylor Weichman, Merman Bikes, yo. And basically at the end of the whole 3 days, they were like, UCI is coming. And later on a Zoom call, I took 2 more Zoom calls after this meeting. But at that last meeting, Burke was there. Burke Swiddlehurst of Crusher. He's become a mentor. I need to call him. They had their things canceled because of fire. He's been a part of the Lifetime Grand Prix. Now he's not, but he's still owned by Lifetime. Like, there's very interesting. You guys should have Burke on this podcast if you haven't.
He needs to be in the Hall of Fame too, for sure.
That's coming. That's like
yeah.
And
yeah.
Dude, at the end of it, I'm sitting next to Ted and Laura King, and they have rooted Vermont. And basically what is being dangled in front of us is come together underneath this umbrella, or let USAC have a separate finish line for their members at your event and have like their own VIP. And I was like, are you fucking joking my ass? Like, have you heard of Unlearned Pavement? Have you heard of like how we're doing this and why? Can I cuss on here? Is that okay?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
hell yeah. All right. And I was just like,
Sorry, Mama Strobes.
my dad's going to be very proud guy.
Good old Bob.
I pulled his shirt down and showed everybody his chest hair at the beer can release party and like scratched on it. I love you, Dad. I love you, Mom. I danced with my mom on Saturday. My mom is a killer dancer, dude. Killer. I was like, Dad. My dad videoed it too, so we're going to put that on the internet somewhere. My mom's beautiful. So, dude, it was crazy. I'm sitting next to Ted, and they're like, this is happening. You guys could be a part of it. They promised us that the very first ever UCI Gravel World Championships would be on U.S. soil. Has that ever happened? Yeah, it has. For how many years? In Lincoln, Nebraska.
The OG.
Yeah, the OG.
The OG.
We got the trademark.
Yeah, y'all. I ain't drinking Shasta. I'm drinking Coca-Cola, okay? And this is Coca-Cola. Like, I ain't getting fucking powdered Parmesan cheese. I'm getting a block and my microplane, and that's what I'm doing. I'm getting stuffed crust pizza, not thin, okay? If you like thin pizza, you should evaluate that decision. Dude, Ted raised his hand. Room was silent. 3 days. Riding, eating, they wined and dined us, whole thing. And Ted said, I left pro racing because of the rules. And I fell in love with this in this way, and what we are doing is not in alignment with what you're doing. And you guys can have whatever you want and do whatever you want, but Laura and I are out. And I was like, I'm with Ted. But there were people in that room that were interested in being the Gravel National Championship that would be leading people to a UCI World Championship. And I was not one of them. And then 2 Zoom calls later, the liaison to the UCI was on a Zoom call, and he was like this, and he was like looking over here, and there were 30 of us. Amanda Nauman was on these calls, like all these people on these calls, and he's just looking over here, and he was like, what you all don't understand is that there is a Chinese corporation that is funding this billion-dollar industry, and it's happening whether you like it or not. And if you want to be a part of it, this is your only chance. And I was like, I'm never fucking coming back to any of these meetings. This is not the core value of the Mid-South in any way. I will never, ever share my categories. I will never share my shit. I will never, ever do any of this. And I don't care what you have going. And then no one came back to any more meetings after that.
And I think that just goes to prove like how much heart that you do have in this event, and people see that, and that's why they come to the Mid-South, is because of what you said just right there. Yes, you have human children, and they are so sweet. Your son, I talked to him for a while at the expo, and he's just adorable. But like, this is your baby in a different way.
I know. Look at him.
If you can't see online, that is a very distorted photo of his son.
Incredible.
But I do want to say, like, a huge thank you to you and so many others. We mentioned Allie Tetrick. She was one that have supported the Gravel Worlds in Lincoln, Nebraska, our event. Like an event that's rooted on giving back, that's rooted in giving community and doing the best version that we can of ourselves. And we're really excited this year. We have the largest prize pool in all of gravel on the pro side with world-class race coverage, but we're also, thank you to Sophia, like, we're going to have the most epic first to last party that is going to happen this year, probably only because Mid-South didn't happen.
Yeah.
But that's like,
y'all would have had that accolade if.
And we've talked, Bobby, like back and forth, like, let's just one up each other for last place. Like, what are we going to do? And so for our first to last party, unfortunately our city we are required to have a safety cutoff. So 9:59:59, whoever is the last person that's crossed the finish line. You talked about how much champagne you have. Like, champagne is our thing, Bobby.
I was thinking about
and so,
I was like, Jason's going to fucking appear out of thin air and pour it all over my face.
And so
just for this.
For our last place, we have 50 bottles of champagne. We're going to have ponchos to give out to everybody. And we are going to peer pressure every single pro that is getting a check that day, that if they're not there, you're the definition of breaking rule number one, not cool. So
you got Shred-It as a sponsor, and you're going to shred their check right in front of them.
That's right.
That was literally a conversation we were having. We were like, well, maybe, like, yeah, you can get your prize, your trophy at the award ceremony, but you don't get your check until 10 p.m. on the dot.
That's a good idea. They have to come get it. Or you just mail them a bag of marshmallows.
But,
I'm sorry.
Bobby, if that hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. It's
absolutely
because you're
not.
Sweet Lovey.
I'm wearing a big sweatshirt just so I can hide it. It's black, so it's swimming. It's like, I'm like,
but and maybe this is a good time too, because this podcast is going to come out really quickly.
Right.
We announced that it wasn't how we intended to announce our new nonprofit, the Gravel Worlds Foundation. It's something that we've talked about for years, and we've been working on for almost exactly a year now, and we were ready to announce it this week, and we were really excited to talk about the things we could do or might do, and then Stillwater happened, and we're like, okay, this is what the foundation was created for. One of the biggest things that frustrates us about the money that we've raised in the past is a lot of times, like, that money just sits and doesn't get used, and it's like, oh yeah, that project will get done sometime. So the foundation was designed to be dynamic and help cycling or running communities that need help. And so we're like, all right, it's time to step up. If it was our shoes, Mid-South would be doing something, other events would be doing something. So
100%.
If you sign up for Gravel Worlds, the Gravel Worlds in August, 50% of your race entry fees will be donated to the United Way of Stillwater Strong. So get signed up for Gravel Worlds.
They're bypassing all, like, administration fees. That money is going directly to families that have lost everything.
Yeah. So get signed up for Gravel Worlds by April 8th.
April 8th. Okay.
Yep.
Do
is
it.
the cutoff. So
Do
and there's a rumor there might be Bobby hugs at Gravel Worlds potentially,
So,
maybe.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Not yet. Okay.
But what I can't, there's a
Wait, Bobby, you need to say yes to everything.
I know.
Let's go back to read a passage in the book.
We'll just rewind.
If you're listening, I'm chastising Jason with proverbs from the book. I would like to read something from the book at some point, and maybe from my notes from my writers' meeting speech that didn't happen. Yesterday I had just so much clarity. I was in Tulsa with let me back up. The only reason why I'm hesitating about Gravel Worlds is that, man, of course, no matter where I am, there will be hugs. There will be hugs given. There will be hugs, probably mostly consensual. Maybe not. My buddy gave me a hat that he found at an event. My buddy Matt Hopkins, he gave me a hat yesterday that says aggressive hugger, and I was like, caution.
That's perfect.
I wish it's in the van. I have Ted King's van right now until he comes back for Unbound. I took him to the airport. It's the coolest. I love our family. I love it. I've become deeply involved with an organization called the Fretboard Journal out of Seattle. Jason Verlinde, shout out, man. I owe him a call back. Jason puts on an event. He's a promoter, big time, and his moving parts are not spread out, but they're like, what? It's insane, dude. There's live musicians everywhere. Dude, I met Bob Taylor of Taylor Guitars at Fretboard Summit last year. He owns a forest in Italy or somewhere in Europe, and like he makes Taylor guitars. It's like one of the biggest guitar companies on the planet. So we have been invited back. Rhett is playing, and I can't miss it, and I don't know the dates yet. And so music is really important to me and cultivating. And so they brought Tyler and I out. Tyler did a show at a distillery. We sang one song together.
Oh yeah, because last year it was on the same weekend.
Yeah,
that's right, and that was why you didn't come last year. That's right.
And so I'm leading what I hope to be a 10x bigger group ride with Comrade Cycles at the very first activation at the distillery, and we rode on
at a guitar show. You're leading a group.
And
that's cool.
That was Jason's idea, because Jason was like, Bobby, what you're doing with bikes and music, it's rhythm. The rhythm of the bike and the rhythm of music, it took me forever to figure out what the correlation was, like what the binding was, and that's it. It's rhythm. So there are tons of guitar players that are also cyclists and also chefs and also poets or authors, or like this creativity overlap of rhythm is like maybe one of the most beautiful things that I've tapped into, and music's been a part of my life forever. So we're going back to that. I'll check dates after this, and then we will make a plan on how we're going to elevate, whether it's what I'd like to do, man, is just come and be at your service. And Sophia, I would like to be at your service. Like, what can I do?
We should get your band there. That was something that I said before all of this craziness happened, is we should have Bobby's band at Gravel Worlds to perform.
Want some Bobby?
Yeah, I was like, we need some Bobby band, and we need some Country Roads song, because it didn't get sung this year, and I'm pretty sure that's a felony. So
it did. It did on Saturday night.
We just weren't there for the fun part.
Yeah, and I cried. I couldn't even sing it. But we'll get there. So anyway, August. What's the date for Gravel Worlds?
August
21st through the 24th.
Yep, 2-day expo, 2-day indoor expo. So if it's windy, we still got an expo. 2-day expo. We got run just like the Mid-South. You can do a double. So we got a 50K, which was directly inspired by the Mid-South. It was the first call when we had an idea of adding running. It's like, okay, mimicry is the #1 source of flattery, or something, whatever that phrase is. So I called Bobby. I was like, hey, we're doing this. We ended up doing the double that year, which was super rad.
It was.
So we do have on the run side on Friday, 50K, 25K, 10K, and then a 5K fun run in the evening.
Come on.
Saturday we have 4 events. Our main event is 150 miles, 75 or 35, or we have a 300 long voyage that if you want to do the super long stuff. And then super exciting this year, is we have a triathlon on Sunday. So, and we are partnering with USA Triathlon to be the first official gravel national championships in triathlon and duathlon. So we have a party all weekend and get signed up. So any of those distances, any of the combinations of them, 50% until April 8th is going to Stillwater. So
let's go to that point where fast forwarding, rewinding, wherever we're at with all of this. So on Friday, there were horrific winds out of nowhere. We were in the expo, and those winds were ripping. It was ripping tents apart. There was a table that had flown through the air and hit somebody in the head. Like, these winds, I've never been around that before, ever. It was terrifying. And I know Jason and I kind of looked at each other and we were like, do you smell smoke? Like, this is weird. And I guess what was going through your mind at that point? Because you're at the finish line giving out hugs for the 50K and the half marathon.
What was going on in my head was I was mentally and physically preparing for what was going to happen on Saturday, if Saturday was going to happen, because we had 600 runners and we had 515 check-in, by far triple the number of runners we've ever had at the start line, or almost. And I was like, I have to conserve energy. And I have to not get too crazy. And I have to not drink very much, which people love to drink with me at the finish line. And people think that I get drunk, and they think that I'm doing cocaine, and they think that I'm on drugs, and I'm not. And I had a whole entire plan. I had all my nutrition. I had food. I had sunscreen. I had other glasses. I had a change of clothes, and we were fully prepared to receive everyone. And I've never experienced anything like this either. I've been in tornadoes, but I've never experienced wildfire. And I downloaded the wildfire app, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe that I have the wildfire app on my phone, and that multiple of my friends are still in danger. And like, now that the weather got colder and the winds are a little bit better today, they're going to still be like 40 today maybe, or tomorrow. It's just being relentless. And we knew that the winds were a possibility, but I didn't know anything about the dew point and the humidity, but it dipped below 20%. And when that happens, the fire danger goes extreme, like through the roof. Did you guys know that?
No.
So
I wasn't very familiar with
general
the
ideas. Yeah. I have firefighters in my family, so like I actually have a video from the expo that with the winds, like I kind of always like so like I grew up around farming and stuff too, so it's like on a windy day you always think like during harvest like you got to be super diligent because like a little spark from a combine burns 1,000 acres. But I literally have a video of us tearing down the expo, and it was more of like funny because like Sophia has her face of like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Like our tents are getting ripped apart. That's all we're thinking. I'm the mom of the
group, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, we got to get people out of here.
Yeah.
And so like in the video, I literally say, I smell smoke. That's not good. And like my thought was like, internally was like, this can be really bad. And then it just, that was maybe 1 o'clock, 12:30, something like that.
So we're like,
and
the finish line. We're like 5 hours into the finish line at that point.
Yeah, and it just got worse and worse and worse. So like that's where I think a lot of people want to know what's going on. You know, like because it's confusing for everyone.
Right.
And as like you said, this is so unprecedented. Like when we think of forest fires at events, it's like Oregon Trail or Rebecca's Private Idaho or like these mountain events. It's not Oklahoma. It's not Nebraska or Kansas, you know? So
yeah. And again, Tusher and the Crusher, Utah, like mountains, low humidity, high elevation, dry conditions, climate change. These are real things. Like, I beat myself up this morning for getting this plastic lid, and this paper cup. Do you know how many coffee mugs I have? Fuck, dude, we're being lazy. We're being lazy, and the earth is responding. And I'm not a scientist, and I'm not trying to be like all whatever about it. I don't know anything. All I know is that the amount of waste that we produce, like go to a fast food restaurant and look at how much trash they produce every day. Like they're not using plates, they're not using reusable anything, and how is this sustainable? It's not. And I think that this is what's going on. Like the earth is pissed. Mother Nature,
Yep.
she is angry. And I know that this is always it's happened I know, but it's not like this. And in the 30s, people brought over eastern red cedars because they were like, oh, they grow quick and like they're beautiful and like we'll plant them, and they're completely destroying the habitat for hardwoods. So they take up one tiny little cedar tree takes up, I just learned this like 10 years ago when we moved here. They take up 3 times the amount of water. Everything else suffers. And then everyone told me when they saw the fire hit coming, my buddy Dylan lives on the edge of town, and he got up into his second, he evacuated his home, he's fine. But he got up in his second level at night and saw the front line. And he said every time it hit a cedar tree, it was a 200-foot torch into the air.
Yeah.
So it's never happened before. It's never happened here before. And there was no way, with the winds blowing at 60 miles an hour, it was jumping over the road, it was jumping over the river, it was jumping over, and it looks like it's chaos. And some houses, the house is perfect, like a tornado when it jumps around, and all the other homes are gone. So what I want to say is that our entire team's focus was on every participant. That's the internal ethos of every single person on our team, is that what decision are we making and how does that affect our participant? Because they are the ones that make this possible, and they are the ones that we care about the most. And just like any good business, like unreasonable hospitality, that's what is on my mind. Also, I'm looking around and like, you guys, how amazing was the expo before the winds picked up?
Amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
We had one of the best expos. We were talking about it. We were like, everyone was so friendly. Everyone was so excited. The energy was just like amazing in the expo. Yeah.
Yeah. We had like 12 people sign up for Gravel Worlds in the 2 hours that it was open or whatever.
That's
like,
sick.
and then collected a bunch of emails. Like metrically, it was for how short it was. It was a good expo.
Amazing.
And then the check-in line was all the way at 8th Street, 1 block from the start of the finish line, and then half a block and all the way to me. And then we didn't even plan that. We had no clue it would be like that. But all of those people just turned into cheerleaders for everyone finished
cool.
the half marathon and the 50K. And the half marathon is the first time we ever did it, and we had like almost 300 people sign up.
Incredible.
And they loved it. And they were like, it's so much hillier than we thought. And they're like, the wind is amazing. It pushed us all the way back. And so I want to bring up my first, I can't be on my phone during this, right? So I'm only receiving information from my team around me. We don't have radios. Everything's being done through text message or calls, or a Facebook group. And then we start getting information. And this is where we weren't prepared for this because we've never experienced it. And you can't do everything right, and you can't make decisions based off of information that you do not have. And the city couldn't get us information either because it was so much chaos. And the city was, and so then all of our emergency management services were full tilt. And I was late to this because I tried to get my AirPods to work, and I was also late to it because I saw 3 police officers at Aspen, and we all cried together this morning. And I just said, how are you? Are you okay? And they were like, we are exhausted. And they were like, Bobby, thank you for everything. And I would just, I would hug these guys, their bulletproof vests on, and we all just sat there, and they're all like sunburnt and windburnt and smoke and they only had like a handful. We only had a handful of people go to the hospital for smoke inhalation out of all of this.
We did this in the Chase Work episode, but like we need to take a beat and thank the first responders of every way that looks. Like,
dude,
the paramedics, the firefighters, the police officers.
Come on.
When I knew it was bad, there was a moment we left we got kicked out of our neighborhood, and we saw the police officers in the smoke with a mask and goggles on, being like, "Get out, get out!" They were literally within a 1/10 of a mile from the fire, like getting people to safety. And then it was when I knew it was like, oh, this is real bad, was when we drove down to Stone Cloud because we didn't know where else to go. And we drove past the community center, and there was 20 police officers pulling old men and women out of their police cars that were evacuating the nursing home. And I was like, this is next level. Like when you see like an old lady crying getting out of the back of a cop car, like it sobers the situation up of like, oh, this isn't kind of like a funny smoke thing happening.
Yeah.
Like this is bad.
This is apocalyptic.
So when was that moment for you? Like when was your moment on that Friday of like, this is bad. This isn't like a funny, like it's windy, we're going to talk about this in a couple, or like it's going to be the windy year. Like when was it like, this is super serious?
So the smoke started to billow into town. But the communication that I kept getting from first responders and from the weather app was that the winds were going to shift to the north and blow the fire back into the burn and put the fire out potentially at 6 p.m. And so I was like, I have no idea how far it's coming to town. I have no idea where this fire is. I'm not on my phone. And so all of us, and I'm hugging people this whole time. And terrified. The flashing on top of District, did you see the flashing on our roof that holds down the you know, that whatever that flat roof material is? It starts flapping like crazy. And I'm like, that could rip off at any second and hit someone. And so I'm not looking at my phone, but then we start just realizing that like there's got to be limbs down on course. We have no idea where the fire is, where it started, how it started. Like think about a wildfire natural disaster, and everyone wants to know how it started, where it came from. In this case, there's no way to know, and there's no information. No one's communicating except for Dan Knack, our sheriff, who's a cyclist, is an amazing friend, who has pulled all the stops. I don't know when I saw this. I don't have red receipts on my phone. At Friday at 10 a.m., he said, I think Front Ultra just crossed Western. First female just crossed at 10:54 a.m. And then Friday at 2:40, what time did you guys start tearing down?
Like around 1:30, I think.
1:30 maybe?
1:30.
Friday at 2:40 p.m. Fire at 68th and Karsten Creek now. That's the water crossing. That's Wild Horse Creek. That's Karsten Creek. That's the water crossing that we've had for years. He said all groups at 2:40 p.m. All groups need to pull riders off the roads if they haven't yet. So then we started to announce, mandatory evacuation of downtown. And one of the lights, the big lights that it's a parking lot light above the parking lot at the courthouse, had blown off and was just hanging from its electrical line. And I ran down, and runners are still coming. I have no idea. We have eyeballs on every single participant, by the way. So just know that we knew where DFL was. We knew where the fires were. We had vehicles. We had that not completely covered, but we had as much control over the most uncontrollable situation we could. I ran up to the police officers and I said, do you guys see that light? And they were like, yes. They said, Bobby, that flashing is about to rip off District and it could fly off and decapitate someone. We need to evacuate downtown immediately. And we need to get all riders off course. So then Jeep Club is dispatched. And then John Vargas runs up to me from Orange Seal. He said, Bobby, do you need people off course? I'll go. And he gets in his van and he left downtown, right down the finish line shoot. Everyone that had a car and that was able and willing went on course. And I just want you to understand how that the only people left on course were 50Kers and doublers at that point. And if they were 1 to 3 miles out, they refused to get into a car. Refused. Wow. So I'm just standing there thinking that trees must be falling on course. Debris is everywhere. This is tornado level winds, hurricane, whatever you want to call this.
There was literally a tree that fell down in right by the finish line shoot.
Did you see
it? Like a full tree, yeah.
Watch it happen? Because I
didn't see it happen.
We watched it happen in real time. And I looked away. So anyway, people are refusing, and I'm like, everyone's standing there, they're coming up to me, and they're like, hey, what's the information about packet pickup? And I'm like, you need to leave. We'll figure it out later, but you need, and they're just like, what do you mean? They're like, I haven't checked in yet. And this guy, Randy, sorry, Randy, but I was very rude to him. He was like, I need to get my number plate. And I was like, I am done with this conversation right now. I was like, I need you to leave. And he goes, hey man, I'm just kidding. And I was like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I'm like, but I just need you to be safe. I need you to go get inside. The bike shop or StoneCloud. Downtown was the safest place. Everyone evacuated to the community center. Rhett Shaw, Tilly Shaw, Susie Jones, and Jake Weibel, all the musicians from Atlanta, we got permission during all this to move the writers' meeting to the community center before the evacuation notice. This is like 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock because we never put up the main stage. I spent $26,000 on a main stage, on a PA, on an LED wall that had we were going to have the whole race live streamed from our Instagram to the lot so everyone could watch it all together right by the food trucks. We never got to set it up. Not once. And that's fine. I don't care. And I didn't get a discount. And I'm not worried about it because that doesn't matter. But people just don't understand that everything was set in motion and contracts are signed. And we're trying our best to make the best decision possible. And I'm not trying to be defensive. I'm not trying to be too transparent either. But just like people's houses are on fire and you're worried about your swag bag, I understand. I understand. You paid for this. I understand. Can you imagine going home and you didn't get there in time and your dogs and your cats are gone? That every memory that you've ever made that's ever of any physical manifestation of any part of your life, your wedding photos, your jewelry, your kitchen, your floor, your bedding, all of your clothes, all of your everything's gone. Everything. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Me neither.
I don't think that we really understood how terrible it was either. Like, yeah, we had been evacuated and that was scary, but I also felt like as soon as we were in like the Mid-South bubble, like downtown, there was somewhat of a bubble for the majority of people.
Yeah.
Because you're in StoneCloud, and we're all just like hanging out
It's the safest
and
place we could have been, besides the air quality.
Yes.
And I understand the people bailing because the air quality. I get it, man. People's homes are smoked out, even if they had the doors closed. Like, I wasn't out there with a mask until like right before we did the first video announcement on how. So then these two guys turn off of 7th and Duck, and they make the last right-hand turn, and I see them turn, and I always stare at those big, beautiful oak trees because I love trees so much. We had moved the SkyTrack over to push up against the finish line if it moved. Our finish line didn't budge an inch, not an inch. You could feel the vibrations, but we put 700 pounds of sand in each foot, and it's made of steel, and it's got plywood, and it didn't. And that was terrifying to me and we're gonna make the feet even bigger next year. We're just gonna make sure that it's as safe as possible. But Trevor goes, "Oh my God, that oak tree just fell over from the roots," and the guys. And I looked up and I couldn't believe it. And the guys were just running, and they ran down and they hugged me and they said, "Bobby, there was a huge branch in the road, and we almost went to the inside of it, to the right, but we decided last minute to go to the left, and then the tree fell right next to them. Whole tree, oak tree that you can't put your arms around." So that was the moment where I was like, and Trevor's like, calm down. And I was like, everyone has to leave. Everyone has to leave right now. It's like, it's non-negotiable. Right now, everyone has to leave. And I'll find their number plates and get that timestamp. But then at 4, so I don't get any communication from Dan until from 2:40 p.m. Friday until 4:36 p.m. And I'm not on my phone. Our whole entire internal, we have a whole internal city text group, and I don't have the bandwidth. I'm so worried about everyone, and I'm getting updates about, okay, this many runners, and I told like 5 or 6 different people that they were DFL because I just wanted them to be the last ones. And Trevor was like, "We got to stop with this DFL shit. Like, they're not, and like it doesn't matter." And I was like, "I know, I'm sorry. We got to get out of here. I want to get out of here. I want to get inside. I'm terrified." Like, my dad was coming by. I was like, "Dad, get your ass inside the bike shop. Like, get inside." It was so scary, you guys. Like, I'm still in shock. I can't believe this happened. And the only thread of hope that I had is that I'm getting another communication that there's more fire on the course. And I'm like, if the fires don't make it to town and the winds change at 6, and everyone in our group, I want everyone else to know this, is that our entire course marking crew, which is made up of a bunch of badasses, we're like, we are fully in. As soon as this is done, we're driving the course, we're going to clear it of all debris. So that was our internal communication. like, they already stayed up all night long Tuesday night marking the course because we believe in inclusion and we believe in full support of every rider, and we don't believe that you have to have enough money to have a smartphone with a Ride with GPS thing, which we offer for free, the premium when you're in town, or to have a Garmin. So we have stakes with colors, and we were going to go check the stakes, see if any of them burnt, get all the debris off of 3 courses, 12, 50 mile, and 107 mile course, and they were all like, no questions asked. Friday, 4:36 p.m., 51 in Cottonwood. This is going to be so hard to see. It's going to be hard to see. I can't, get it to work. It's not going to work. Anyway.
Oh, no, I see the red, like the glowing.
Yeah. Smoke. Way more smoke. Highway 51 was closed. So if we would have canceled earlier on the first video, which, by the way, I just want to say, I'm embarrassed by that first video, by how insensitive it potentially came off. And I want people to know that I wish I had all of the information and all of the clarity to cancel the race the first time, so then I didn't keep people hanging on a thread all till whatever time it was that we posted it, and then into the next morning. So please, if you're listening to this and you're watching this, know that from the bottom of my absolute heart that I was trying to do the best thing I knew, and I didn't mean to say party, I didn't mean to talk about celebration and be insensitive. My heart is broken for my community, and we are devastated, and we're holding each other. There were 5 or 6 people at Stone Cloud last night on the Wednesday night Stillwater Trail and Roadrunner group run that have lost everything. All their bikes, all their kids' bikes, all their pictures, all their data, all their computers, everything. They've lost their whole entire lives, besides breathing. And they're all just hugging. And when are you going out to look through the rubble? When do you need help? I got home from Europe, Martin from the Netherlands. And he's like, I got home and my house is fine and my entire neighborhood is gone, Pecan Hill. And I just spent, the second I got home, I just went to my neighbors and helped them sift through things. So then Dan.
Yeah, it was, yeah, okay, sorry.
I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send you this video, okay?
Well, and to touch on the first announcement you had made, and then you came to Stone Cloud and you got up on the counter, and people were asking us what we would have done if we were in that same situation, and we didn't really have an answer. Jason and I would keep flip-flopping. We're like, well, maybe we would cancel, but there's so much that goes into this. And you, at that moment, what I interpreted, that you were community focused. You were like, yeah, there's the community of Stillwater, but there's also this community of Mid-South. But they're both ingrained with each other. And I just can't imagine what would have been going through your mind. People kept asking us, and we're like, we don't know. I can't physically put myself in that mindset of what I would be thinking in that moment, because
and too,
you had the weight of the world on your shoulder. And
like you just said too, the information at one point that you were getting was, and kind of us too, was the wind's going to switch, it's going to die down. You're not a fire expert. You don't have, you have, it sounds like one sheriff that was texting you. And the emergency management team is clearly focused on other things.
Yeah,
and
exactly. So we'd lost all, at that point, we hadn't realized what was going on. And I have timestamps. We recorded that video before the sun went down, up in that other building. And I think it was 5-ish. I have a text from Josh. I'm sorry if this is annoying, but I have a text from Josh when he was like, I need you. It's right here. So it was Friday. I need you, buddy. 5:52. So we recorded the first video at 5:52. And we wrote the script together, and everyone thought I just shot from the hip. On some of it I did, but most of it I said I read from a script, which I never do. And then right after that, we record that video, and then I decide to go to Stone Cloud and make an announcement, and I get a text from Dan Knack, our sheriff, widespread, Friday 6:08 p.m. just have put out that video. 68th and Carson Creek is southwest point, and it's pretty solid path east of that. Corridor from Cottonwood to Sanger between 44th and 51. Spotty after that. Lots of homes. That's when I knew.
So
that.
literally, if you had gotten that text 30 minutes earlier, 20 minutes earlier.
But there was no way because my phone was just exploding.
Yeah.
And then I said, thank you for the update. And then he sent me a video of 19th and Range. And all of this is the course. It's all the course. So it's like, there's no way. And like, I saw all these pictures of like the road and it was pretty clear. But the last piece of the puzzle is that obviously all of our city and emergency management support, from police to fire to SWAT team, they were literally saving people's lives. So what the video should have been was like, it's canceled. It's canceled. People are losing their homes. You guys, we lost it's confirmed 70 structures and more structures yesterday. There's so many homes gone. And I think Stillwater, it's 70 to 100 homes gone.
Yeah.
2 more hours. The wind didn't shift until, what was it, like 8? Yeah. If it would have been 1 more hour.
At least.
Did your guys' Airbnb burn?
No, it got within like half a mile.
It was literally across the street. Like, so
the video was crazy.
Saturday morning, I put a drone up just to see where the fire had gotten, and it was literally across the street from our neighborhood. And I took another video too. Is like, it's just so dry right now. Like, even the grass in people's yards is like the perfect kindling for if you're going for a campfire.
Oh yeah,
that's what you want. And so
cedars, man, it's like gas. It's just like, and so now we have all these conversations now that's going around our internal group about, and Jason, you talked to me about it too. I think about cedar removal at Lake McMurtry. Like, think about everyone that was camping out there. There were people camping all over Lake Carl Blackwell with campers. And what I want everyone to understand is that it hit me like a ton of bricks on the way to Stone Cloud. But I was told, like, we need to stick to this plan because, and Crystal told me this later, if we would have announced it then at 6 p.m., we would have caused even more mass chaos because people would have tried to leave right then, and the highways were closed, and there was fire there and smoke, and that would have been more dangerous. So the safest place that everyone could have been was inside either the community center, district, your Airbnb that was out of the harm's way, or Stone Cloud, or Iron Monk, or any of the restaurants. So, I didn't get clarity on that until the next morning. So I go over. He said 44th and Cottonwood South, Fairgrounds is open for shelter. So Fairgrounds is to the east. We got all of this communication out, and then I get to Stone Cloud, and I get on the bar. I've only gotten on the bar at Stone Cloud twice. This is not Coyote Ugly. And the first time I did it was after Mid-South, the first year they were open 2 years ago, and I just chanted Mid-South with everyone with no voice, and they were like, we're only letting you do this because it's Mid-South, so like, don't get used to it. And Kara Matthews is a force of love and support, and she's an incredible human being. Kara, thank you, and Shammy Butter and Steve, thank you guys for everything. You guys are helping us do things and activating and supporting artists and supporting people of color and indigenous and non-binary and all bodies on bikes and everybody. I just have shout outs for everyone. Marley Blonsky, Marcus from Robinson from Ride for Racial Justice. Like, all of these people are here, right? And I get on that bar and I said, we are on tentatively until we are told otherwise, until we are told that we do not have emergency management support, because I hadn't talked to them yet because they were completely overwhelmed. So we are on until we are not. And then the room, it was like the air was sucked out of the room. Did you feel that? And I was like, and I immediately was like, this is vibe check. Like, vibe, this is not the vibe. And Kara was like, Bobby, show them who we are. Tell them who we are. And then the first question was, this was the first question. That participant, whatever her name was, said, how can we help? how can we help? Not, where's my number plate? Where's my rider packet? Where's my refund? It was, how can we help those that have lost everything? And then I get another text message from Matt Waits, who lives at Pecan Hill. Pecan Hill was hit really hard. Nottingham was hit really hard. My next door neighbor, Corey Williams, his ex-wife Shannon, completely custom built, designed her home in Nottingham. And Canton Williams is my son Elliot's best friend. They have sleepovers every night. We have no locked doors between the houses when we're all there. And Canton is 13 years old, and his mom's house is completely gone. Everything. Kara Wells was at work. Kara's a photographer, a cyclist, a friend. She did not get back to her house, and her dogs have passed away. So I get off the bar, and I'm immediately ashamed of myself and embarrassed, and I realized what I had done, and I did it with all the intentions of trying to make lemonade, right? And so we were moving the PA. Rhett and Tilly and everyone, what they were doing over there at the community center, I meant to say this earlier, is the ambulances and the police cars and everyone else started showing up with elderly nursing home individuals that had dementia, could not walk, and then immediately they just put on a mask and they went to work. Some of the best musicians on the planet. And they're just holding these people that don't know what's going on, are terrified, crying, and carrying them into the community center. And
that one gets me. Because we saw it, man. And like I told you, when we were going down there, we saw, you're not supposed to see an old lady getting pulled out of the back of a cop car not knowing what's going on. That's not how the system is supposed to work. It's not how things are supposed to go.
And hotels were being evacuated. And it was just people were, and then we just were all right, how can we get our aid station supplies to where they need to go? And then Zanotti's made 50 pizzas and took them to the community center. And everyone just stepped up. And then we grabbed the PA because I was like, well, if the safest place is in this concrete jungle of downtown, then let's see if we can. We were trying to pivot to the writers' meeting, and I was like, the writers' meeting is canceled. The Mid-South 2025 is canceled. Let's get the PA over to Stone Cloud, and let's see if we can. And one of the band's grandparents had to evacuate. I don't know if they lost their home, but they were supposed to play on Friday night. They didn't play. And so then Rhett and Susie, and it was the winds had shifted, and the AQI went way better when the winds shifted. And we did and then Bobcat was going to play Friday night because we were trying to keep some sort of normalcy. Yeah. We were trying to in the midst of all of this insanity, we were trying to continue to figure out how to make lemonade out of this insane, unthinkable disaster and give people something to gather around and hold on to just a tiny bit. And then the city was Crystal called me and she's like, we need you down here. We're doing another video. Come to the shop right now. It's over, Bobby. It's over. And then I was and then Will Joyce calls me. Timestamp. Will Joyce is the mayor. And I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, baby. I love you so much. You know that and I want to read you his text to us because it's very important. And he said, on Friday night, I have so many phone calls. It's out of control. He said on Friday night at 9:41 p.m., I'm on my way to go make the next video. And he's like, Bobby, I'm so sorry. He's like, I know. He's like, Christmas is canceled. And Will and I have a very, very special relationship. I specifically played a Foo Fighters cover for him at Mid-South last year because him and I are both such big Foo Fighters fans. And he's just like, Bobby, we've lost so many homes. He's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. He knew what to do. He knew what to do, but he was like, I'm completely overwhelmed. And I said, I don't want to put a strain on the city. I said, but tomorrow's supposed to be incredible. And what if we just filled the water barriers with water that are already filled, the Jersey barriers, and I just want the street closure in front of District and the T And we can park our own vehicles and our own Jeeps to be solid blocks because we have to have solid vehicles at our road closures because of people maybe driving their cars in to a group of people like what happened in New Orleans. And that's insane.
Yeah.
These are meetings that we're having, y'all. So I'm sorry that you didn't get your number plate. I'm sorry that we're figuring out how to ship all your stuff to you for free that we had made custom just for you. But like, I'm worried about the safety of 10,000 people, 4,200 participants, and I'm worried about you trying to give you the best thing that I could possibly give you at a very, very reasonable price. Okay?
Yeah.
Will's like, that sounds reasonable to me at 9:41 p.m. He's like, that sounds good. So I walked down to the shop. I'm like, Crystal, Will told me that we can do it and do the live, and we'll just pivot, and then we can. They've got to the GoFundMe's going, the United Way fund's going, and then we can just turn this into that. And the Stone Cloud fire truck's down there, which is like, what kind of like omen is that? Okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that they bought this sick fire truck and put 10 kegs in it. It's the coolest thing ever, and we didn't even get to like utilize it. And I'm like, we can just all be outside. And Crystal's like, no, Bobby, it's canceled. It's over. We don't have support. We cannot overwhelm anyone anymore. And Olin Weaver, my sound production engineer that has been with me since year one, we get on the phone, and Olin is like, here's what we texted. So I want people to know exactly what we said at exactly what time. He said on Thursday, he said, by the way, at 8:44 p.m. on Wednesday, wind speeds are headed in the wrong direction tomorrow. The stage has an LED wall, and it had a wind limit of 35 or 25 miles per hour with the roof because it's like a transformer. He said, I need you to trust my judgment as far as what we are going to do regarding music and safety of musicians. And at 8:44 p.m. At 8:58 p.m., I said, I trust you completely. You have full control. And then Friday at 5:01 p.m., he said, dude, exclamation point. Rhett, Zach, Susie, and Jake are at the community center wheeling old people out of ambulances into the community center. The world needs more people like them. And then I saw Stephanie Kinder, and I had Stephanie on camera, and she was like, I look horrible. I can't be on camera. I was like, just talk to me. And there's a photo of us holding each other. And I said, no. And so then that was 5:01 p.m., and then everything changed. And at Friday 11:59 p.m., I told Olin on the phone that it was over, and that he saw the post, actually. And he said, so nothing on the main stage, ? I said, no. City has no way to support us, and the answer is no. Too much danger and liability, and everyone's exhausted. Everyone is out fighting these fires and trying to get people out and make sure that everyone's safe. I said, for people gathered in road closures. I said, I tried, Crystal tried, and he said, what about the race? And I said, fully canceled at 12:01 a.m. We'd already made the video. He said, shit. I said, spot fires on course, homes lost, devastation. He said, okay, do you want me to get the Prestige PA, the main stage PA, down to Stone Cloud, or are we ditching them? I think we can still utilize them, but you tell me what you want. I said, yes, absolutely. I want the best sound possible. I will not be seeking any refund. He said, okay, I have to scale it back a little to ground stack the mains on the subs, but we can do it. Are you finished at Stone Cloud for tonight? Can you turn off the breakers on my power distro to kill power and leave it there? I said, my voice is going. Can we text? Saturday at 6:19 a.m. We're up. They're already there. Yes, we are packing gear to take to Stone Cloud. The Sprinter is in front of the loading gate, and no one is at Stone Cloud. Can I get a key to move the Sprinter? The key was in the Sprinter. I always leave it in the Sprinter. Can I get a key?
Well, don't say that.
Yeah, I'm an idiot, dude. I'm an eternal optimist. So then we all meet, and we pivoted, and Stone Cloud immediately announced that they were going to donate 25% of their sales, gross sales, not profit, from Saturday. They had their biggest day of their entire open career, $20,000, all going to the United Way Fund. $5,000 got donated, and then Kara immediately said Chamois Butter's going to match it. So the timing is, for a natural disaster, is obviously never, ever, no one's ever prepared. But what everyone that stayed and tried to make this into something like lemonade out of lemons, this Chase the Shea for the first time ever had people getting to take photos on it in next to Stone Cloud right in the Empire patio. and we just tried to fully activate in whatever way we knew how. And so $10,000, 51 kegs got floated, and we put on the best, most open and loving music festival. Bell and the Vertigo Waves debuted DFL, Dead Fucking Last, the song that Bell wrote on her way home from the race last year. We recorded a music video. Jacob, Crop Top on Instagram, lost his leg a month after Mid-South or less last year by getting hit by a truck in New York. He went and rode 80 miles, and Meg Fisher came and got me, and we stopped Rhett and Zach and Jake's set and Chris's set early, and we all went outside, and everyone put their phone lights on. Did you see this? Everyone,
yeah.
And dude, when he crossed the finish line, he bawled into my arms in a way that only Chase Wark has bawled into my arms, and just bawled, and then he ripped his prosthetic off and poured a beer in it, and we shut the street off on our own it's dangerous, don't do that, and he just chugged that shoey like he was from Australia. And we pivoted in the best way we knew how. You guys have started your fundraiser. People are asking us about our fundraising efforts, and there are like 4 more that are going online ASAP. I'm not announcing how much we raised through the Salsa Storm Chaser Seville Center bike raffle. We will be picking the winner tomorrow morning, but let's just say that I think we have put a massive, massive dent into the operating budget that's lost from federal and state taxes to the same amount of people that are taking on 100 more cases. They went from 400 cases in 2023, child abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, to 500 cases in 2024 with 6 individuals and $90,000 less money.
Wow.
So they're coming to the shop tomorrow morning. We're going to live IG the giveaway of the bike. And then we got another bike coming. We're doing an MTV Cribs Pimp My Ride with salsa ripped in SRAM. We're going to give away the sickest journeyer you've ever seen with electronic shifting and carbon wheels. And we're going to have a whole swag thing of ripped in, and we're going to have Fuzzy Rabbit, and we're going to do the whole, it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be check out my fridge. It's going to be full of Fuzzy Rabbits. Check out my closet. It's going to be all ripped in. It's look at my bike in the garage. It's oh yeah, this is my ride, and it's going to be sick. So we're doing another one. And all that money is going to them. And then we took donations directly on the website, and all that money is going to them. And you guys, I think it's somewhere in the tune right now with Seville, and it's still live right now. So my email is just Squarespace, and all the money's going. We have an aviation engineer PhD on all the Excel files in our bank account on our website. Well, not our bank account, but the website, and they are itemizing everything, and checks are going out as soon as we possibly can to United Way, to Seville, to people that need it the most. And we're to the tune, I think we're at $70,000 to $80,000 raised since Saturday morning.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
And I gave Chase $1,000 from Mid-South for his FKT. Ted, they raised $10,000 together. $10,000 was Chase's goal on his own, but now, and they're both still going. This is ongoing.
That's another. Yeah, we didn't even get to that whole mega Mid-South. Listen to the podcast before this one. If you're on Spotify, we just had Chase Wark on, talked through his whole mega. We should try to have Ted King on too to talk through his.
Yes.
That's a whole nother day of conversation.
So then Sunday morning at 6:03, I couldn't find my helmet. Me and a handful of people rode Ted King out to the gravel, got him through the park, and then Chase showed up and wanted to leave at 6:30, and he wasn't ready. His aero bars weren't on. Did he tell you guys all this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
We went through it all.
I got him all fixed. Couldn't get his pump to work. I was unhinged, dude. I was making jokes very inappropriate. It's fucking ridiculous. I only rode him 2 blocks out because I could only keep up with him for a half a block. And then I went straight to Hatch, and I ended up having an impromptu breakfast with Meg Fisher. And Meg told me all about how she lost her foot and part of her leg, and when her partner died, and we just sat there and bawled our eyes out. And I cried every tear that I had to cry for my community, for the lost homes, for the lost memories, for just lost everything. And also I'm we canceled Christmas. All right, so Will Joyce texted me this. And I have a few other things that I want to say before we're done. But we are doing everything in our power to support those around us. We're doing everything that we possibly know how, and we're working nonstop. And then we got into two different vehicles, and we went out, and Chase didn't have a spot tracker, so I had to friggin' I got him to share his location. I called his wife, and she was like, oh, you just text him, he'll share his location. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, hey, congratulations. You're about to be a mom. You're made for this. You're beautiful. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait to meet your kid. I love your husband. We had a great time together. I feel like we're just getting to know each other. He's also a race director. Ted's a race director. Laura's a race director. They stayed, dude. And instead of bailing, and Ted had been talking about doing this, we FaceTimed and video chatted about this, and I showed him the FKT board and the Mega Mid-South finisher list, and he was like, 22:38. He's like, heard, chef, got it, cool. And then this happened. He's like, fundraiser. And then Chase, we just talked about it throughout the week. And I was like, hey, Chase, don't go. Did he tell you about the baseball game on Sunday? I was like, don't do it. I was like, there's a baseball game. I was like, we eat some hot, fresh glizzies and drink some Coors Lights. And he's like, and he's just like this. He goes, I think I'm going to do Mega. And I was like, I'll see you out there. And with no production meeting, and Ted found out that he was going to Chase, so I want to call it, we're making a doc. We have all 4K. My phone is full of storage. We're making a Chase's Ted Mega Mid-South FKT 2025.
Cool.
And I
can't wait to watch it.
I would love to have a viewing at Gravel Worlds. And he's going to have a viewing in Minneapolis, and we're going to have a viewing in Stillwater, and I want to have a viewing at the Granada during Unbound. So, and I don't know how, but we can just keep the fundraising going or get the money into wherever the hands it needs to go or support whoever and figure it out. We're working on details for registration for next year. We're working on a date announcement. Crystal's on it. Trust Crystal. I trust her with all my heart, soul, my children, my home, my business. Obviously, she owns all of this. She has got 51% of all this, y'all. I'm just this. I'm just the yapper. Like, that's it. That's it. It's fine. So, Tuesday at 6:26 p.m., Will Joyce, Mayor, Stillwater, Oklahoma. Notes for the future. I want to go to Gravel Worlds in August and thank them in person. I want to have a get-together at Mid-South next year for the people who have given. Chamois Butter, Salsa, Ted, Chase, Gravel Worlds, plenty more, I'm sure. And I said, yes, it's in my notes. Sunday at 9:57 p.m. I can't make it. I can't make it through more than 30 seconds of your video canceling the race. It breaks my heart. This city is so incredibly blessed to have you and Crystal here and by the work you do year-round and with Mid-South. I'm so sorry that all the work and planning and preparation and legitimate soul you all put into this event didn't make it to fruition. But I've also never met anyone so adept at making lemonade. You pivot better than Hakeem Olajuwon. The community you've built around District and the Mid-South is like an oyster. You filter all the grit and the grime and hardships and still keep spitting out pearls. I love you, and I'm thankful for you. Get some rest.
We had asked questions online and had gotten a few, but most of them have been answered. That I don't think there's a need to go in there.
Okay. You can reach out to me. Bobby at midsouthgravel.com. Our whole crew, we got a contact page. If you have any questions, any concerns, please give us some grace. Please let us mourn. Let us mourn the fact that the event did not happen. Let us mourn the loss of bird habitat, deer, farmland, the bovine bypass. The only reason the bovine bypass is not completely burnt to the ground is because of the water monster and the scratch jug that was out there.
Wow.
There's definitely silver linings through all of this. There were so many people to support small businesses that would not have been in Stillwater otherwise, people who work at these small businesses have lost their homes and their lives, their whole life. And because there were people in Stillwater, they were able to support these small businesses.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't want to phrase it that way, but that's exactly right. And just thank you to everyone for your entire heart and soul, and for like wanting to be at the Mid-South, for wanting to spend your time and money and energy coming. I know that this is frustrating, and I know that, but again, like the bigger picture is that Mid-South, our whole team did pivot, and we did, and people left, and that was fine. Like everyone's, no judgment, and everyone's on the same page. Like everyone's on the same path. Like everyone's, okay, here's how I want to end this, okay? Crystal and I, lay in bed on Friday night before Mid-South, after the writers' meeting and after the chamois butter party, completely exhausted, completely silent. And the last 4 years we've had Jones, our dog. And we lay there together knowing what's about to come the next morning. And we get like no sleep. Until yesterday, I had only slept about 11 hours in the last 5 days. And the weight of the love, and the weight of the energy, and it's insane. It's insane. And I know that I'm going to sleep, and when I wake up, I'm going to the start line of the Mid-South. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I went to Tulsa with Ted. I dropped Ted off at the airport, and I'm helping him store his van until Unbound, or maybe another race or something in April. And it was so much fun. We had such a fun drive, and he stayed the night at my house. And Chase stayed the night at my house the night before that, after he finished the FKT, and he didn't have a place to stay because he got evacuated from his Airbnb. He's like, I'm just going to sleep in my car. I was like, no, you're not. I bought you Domino's. We put all these district stuff on, and he was just like getting interviewed by Eric Matthew for the Radibus, and he was just like, and we're like I put the heater on at 74 degrees, and then we shoved him in the shower, and then I was bringing him more clothes and socks, and Josh's pants, his ripped-in pants, are way too big for Chase. And we were bringing it in there, and Chase and I are just having a conversation while he's in the shower, and while the shower curtain's closed, I'm like, hey man, what's up, how you doing? He's just like, I'm good, Bobby, I'm good, Bobby, I'm good. And I'm just like, and dude, Tilly was just like, Bobby, he's going hypothermic. And I was like, he just has to get through it. He'll be fine. We'll get him there. And then we go home, and I bring him home, and then Rhett and I stay up till 3 in the morning, walking our dogs around, drinking whiskey, making fun of each other. And Chase is in my son's bed because Elliot was with Crystal's mom and dad in Kansas, and Chase just like got to sleep the best sleep of his entire life. Fully taken care of. Unreasonable hospitality. It isn't hard to do the things that you know are right. I stayed in Tulsa after I picked up Elliot and went to my friend Tim and Libby's house. Tom Wooler is the orthopedic surgeon that immediately took care of Sandra, Marcus Robinson's wife from Ride for Racial Justice, who got hit in the head with the table. It did not go up 2 stories and then hit her in the head, by the way. That's a rumor. People are crazy.
I saw it.
It was that high?
It did.
Did it hit the ground first and then hit her?
No, it hit her. I literally watched it, and it didn't like corner. Right. It was like the flat part, but it literally flew up. And anyway, I saw it. So you saw the tree, I saw the table.
Okay. I missed the tree by like 2 seconds. The bulldozer, the city of Stillwater, with everything going on, had a bulldozer to clear the finish line of that entire, huge oak within minutes. And Trevor's on the mic. He's like, I love the city of Stillwater. It was insane, you guys. The amount of moving parts of this are beyond your guys' comprehension. Like, not you, not race promoters, but the public. I've been working on booking bands and trying to get creatives and their agencies or booking agencies to communicate directly with me and give me answers for 6 months. And they're all paid, and almost half of them didn't even perform. Not half, but all the Friday, except for Rhett. And Bobcat does not get paid, by the way, because we're not good. It's fine. No, we are good. I think that we are getting better. And I would love for us to be at Gravel Worlds. And I think we're playing Unbound, and the guys don't even know it yet. So here's your contract. Sign it. Okay. So I stayed in Tulsa. and I was falling asleep playing Mario Kart with my son. And we went to sleep upstairs, and I was like, this is it. I'm gonna sleep, and I'm gonna be better. And about 2 hours in, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up to my son Elliot with his legs on top of me, and our blankets everywhere, like all messed up, and he's just like in my face. And I woke up and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm out of my mind. So I grab in my underwear at my friend's house. There's brand new, not brand new, but they just moved in. Beautiful historic home. Grab a pillow, go downstairs, I get this itchy blanket, I lay down on the couch. I get on Instagram and I'm trying to read articles from the Escape Collective, and I'm just trying to get myself to go back to sleep. I fell asleep for another 2 hours. And my brain is not ready to accept the fact that Saturday morning that I was talking about Crystal and I in bed, didn't happen. And it's not because I think we made the wrong choice, because we made absolutely the right choice. This was the only choice. It was the easiest, hardest decision of my life. Keep everyone safe. We didn't have any support. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You know what we're going to do?
Yeah.
We're going to throw a music festival, and we're going to raise tons of money for all the people affected. And we're going to give people that don't have anywhere to go something to do. So just come and just breathe, because the air was better. And so I woke up. The sun was still hadn't risen yet. The sun was still below the horizon, and I woke up and I hadn't opened my eyes yet. And I didn't know where I was, and my brain was just like, and this has happened like twice now, and my brain was like, everyone's still in town. You're headed to the start line. And then I opened my
And then reality hit.
And then I opened my eyes, and I realized that I was in Tulsa, and that I was going to coffee with my friend Brian Pasick, and Elliot was upstairs, and it absolutely crushed me. It absolutely crushed me. So Christmas is canceled. And there's nothing that anyone could have done to change it, and I think that we made the best decisions that we could have made. And we have love deep, and this is going to bring our community so close together, you guys. So close, and everyone keeps talking about next year already, but I'm not ready for that yet. I'm ready to let our whole team take a deep breath. I'm ready to take care of these people. I'm ready to go out to the course, to the neighborhoods, and I'm ready to go start sifting through stuff with people. I'm ready. I'm gonna do that. I think it's imperative that I haven't seen it yet. I've seen a few of the fires off the highway taking Rach and Lee to the airport, and taking Ted to the airport. And what's crazy, you guys, is that Oklahoma City and Tulsa, like, they don't even know what's going on. Like, they're not, the news cycle's not even hitting. And the New York Times reached out to us, and I don't think the stories ran yet, but like, it's unreal. The weight of this is something that I didn't realize that I was preparing to have to deal with. But our whole team is completely locked in, and we're all grown, and we've all grown together. And I know you guys know what that feels like, but like, if there's any negativity like floating around for you or us or any, like, it's just, don't even give it the agency of the time, because it's not worthy. The only thing that's worthy are the people who are worthy to be added to the friend group. And I said this the other day, the friend group, when a friend is worthy to be added to the friend group, and this is how I feel about everyone at the start line in the Mid-South, is that this is the only time, and this is what crushed me, is that the gathering of the start line is the only time that I feel like every person that is there, regardless of who they are, what they look like, where they're from, what they sound like, how much money they make, what bike they're on, what their finish time might be, whether they're getting paid or not as a pro, all of it. It's the one and only moment that we have that we're all completely on the same page. It's the only moment where everyone is pushing for the same goal, and it is love, and it is connection. And that didn't happen. It was chaos, and it was confusion, and it was all of the above. But
you know the best part about Christmas, Bobby? It happens every year.
Yeah.
It's going to be back,
I know.
and it's going to be better than ever.
and all the gifts are going to be super sick.
Well, Bobby, again, thank you for letting us have this conversation. And I think you can, people that, if they've made it to the end of our longest podcast ever, on the Gravel Family podcast, they know, like, they can tell it's still a lot. You're still, like, processing it. We're processing it of what we would do as race directors, and we're still like, oh, well, what if this was a little different? Or, you know,
There was no choice.
Yeah, but
There was no choice.
my point is that you have developed a community that is passionate about helping your city. If it wasn't for you, and I sent you that Bobby hug from 2018 that you gave me at the finish line. You had no clue who I was at the time, but you have an incredible way of making everybody feel loved at your event. It's a thing that Sophie and I strive for, and without that hug, literally, I don't know if I'm here. I don't know if I'm a race promoter of one of the coolest historical events in gravel. I don't know if Sophia and I are sitting here every week having conversations with super cool people. My point is thank you for building that community, for thinking about this event every single year, every single day of every single year. No one understands what the emotional impact that you're going through, but you're setting that aside and saying, my community's first.
Yeah.
Yes, you could have maybe made different decisions at a different time. In hindsight, vision is way clearer, but you did the best that you could in that moment. And I think you and your team, Crystal and Trevor and Josh and your entire team can hang your hat on knowing
Tyler and
Tyler. Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm just naming everybody else. Like, yeah, I just want to make sure everybody gets a little bit of love.
Yeah. So I know we probably should wrap this up, but I just want to thank you for the impact you've had on Sophia and I. And there's no real good way to wrap this up, but just want to say thank you. Our community is with you, and we can't wait to see what good comes out of this through the tragedies.
I'm so thankful for you guys. I'm so thankful for the entire community of dirt road riding. Chemo reached out.
The Gravel Family.
Gravel Family. Dude, Christy, Tim, like the Emporia fam, the Arkansas fam, everyone's reached out, and if I haven't responded, I will. I promise I will. But I'm just overwhelmed with love, and I'm overwhelmed with tragedy and with loss. And all I want to do is move forward and do the best that we can for our entire community and our city and all of our participants and everyone that spent the time and money to be here. So I hope that you realize that we have a reverence for this in a way that I can't fully describe. And I also just want to say that we ride and we run on the land of the Oto Missouri tribe, the Quapaw, the Kickapoo, the Pawnee, the Iowa nations. And it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be held by these lands, and these lands take care of us, so we need to take care of them. And we're going to do everything we can to make that happen. So I love you guys so very much. Thank you. Thank you for getting this down while it's this fresh. I'm very thankful for you.
We love you, Bobby.
Love you too.
We love you. This episode is sponsored by Good Life Nutrition.
Looking for a nutrition brand that powers your performance? Good Life Nutrition has you covered with their complete lineup. Carbs made with cluster dextrin that actually taste good, protein, electrolytes, essential amino acids, and an endurance recovery mix. Their product line ensures you're taken care of from beginning to end.
As the official nutrition supporter of Gravel Worlds, Good Life Nutrition's innovative lineup is trusted by athletes to fuel their best. Whether you're training or racing, this is the nutrition you need.
And here's something special for our Gravel Family podcast listeners. Use the code GravelFamily at checkout for 20% off your first order. This exclusive offer is just for you.
Visit fuelyourgoodlife.com and fuel your good life with Good Life Nutrition today.
And this has been another episode of the Gravel Family Podcast. We will see you next time.
Gravel Family Podcast is owned and operated by Gravel Family Collective, LLC. For more information on Gravel Family Podcast, go to www.gravelfamily.bike. For more information about Gravel Worlds, go to www.gravelworlds.com.
Now let's get out and enjoy some gravel.